Why dating is different and better after 60. What you need to know. Have you ever felt it? The quiet, gnawing thought that maybe love, romance, desire, that part of life is behind you. The one that whispers in your most vulnerable moments, after the laughter fades, after the busy day ends, when you're alone. With your thoughts. Am I too old for this? I see you. I hear you. That hesitation isn't weakness. It's humanity. It's the echo of years lived fully, of joys and heartbreaks, of losses endured and lessons learned. And yet the fact that you feel it, that curiosity, that longing, is proof that your heart is still alive, still capable of yearning, still capable of love. Dating after 60 is different. It's not the frantic pursuit of attention or approval. It's not driven by insecurity or fear of missing out. It's deliberate, patient, and deeply intimate. And while that might sound comforting, it's also terrifying. Because being truly seen at this age means confronting the parts of ourselves we've long protected, the scars, the regrets, the quiet disappointments, and daring to hope again. Let me tell you about Margaret. Margaret had been widowed for 5 years. She loved her routine, her independence, and her quiet evenings with a book and a cup of tea. But there was a subtle ache she couldn't ignore, a feeling that maybe life had more for her, if only she dared to reach. She joined a local painting class, not expecting anything more than a way to pass the time. Then there was Daniel, a retired teacher who had sworn off dating after a bitter divorce in his 50s. He spent years convincing himself that companionship wasn't worth the emotional effort. Yet, one day, in a small art studio, he found himself laughing, fully and spontaneously, at a joke Margaret told. And in that laughter, something shifted. Both felt seen, acknowledged, alive in a way they hadn't felt in years. That's the first difference in dating after 60. The intensity of being truly seen. You no longer chase illusions. You no longer play games. You approach connection with clarity, and for the first time in your life, you can afford to be unapologetically authentic. But this authenticity comes with vulnerability. It requires you to face your fears, fear of rejection, fear of judgment, fear of repeating past mistakes. These fears are natural. They are echoes of every heartbreak, every loss, every moment you protected your heart. And yet, stepping forward anyway is what makes dating at this stage uniquely powerful. Think of it like an ocean. When we're young, love feels like wading into waves without knowing the depth, sometimes exhilarating, sometimes overwhelming. But at 60, you know the currents. You've felt the storms and the calms. And now, when you step into the water, it's intentional. You know how to float, how to navigate the tides, how to swim with confidence. And that makes the experience richer, safer, and far more joyous. Another remarkable difference. Freedom. Dating in your 60s is not about obligation or societal expectation. You don't have to impress anyone. You don't have to conform to anyone's idea of what dating should look like. You can approach it with curiosity, playfulness, and honesty. You can ask, does this feel good? Does this make me happy? Without guilt or fear. And yet, it's not always easy. The world hasn't fully caught up with this truth. You may feel judged, or worse, invisible. You may internalize the messages that love is for the young, but here's what I've learned. Those messages are illusions. Your heart, your desire, your capacity for connection, these do not age. Consider George, a widower in his late 60s. He told me, I didn't think I could ever feel excited about someone again. I thought my heart had retired. But when he met Margaret, a fellow music lover, something shifted. Their first conversation was about a song from their youth. By the end, they were laughing, reminiscing, and planning to attend a small concert together. He said, I forgot butterflies could live in me. That's the magic of dating after 60. It awakens parts of you thought were dormant. Dating later in life also allows for extraordinary clarity. You know what you want, and you know what you won't tolerate. You recognize your emotional patterns. You understand the difference between fleeting infatuation and lasting connection. That clarity, combined with life experience, creates a depth of intimacy younger couples often spend years chasing. And there's something almost poetic about that depth. It's like walking into a garden you've tended your whole life, knowing exactly which flowers to nurture and which weeds to let go. You can cherish the beauty without clinging to what no longer serves you. You can love with wisdom, presence, and grace. But let's not sugarcoat it. Dating after 60 is also a mirror. It reflects your insecurities, your unresolved grief, your fears of inadequacy. And that's precisely why it's transformative. Because each encounter, each conversation, each laugh forces you to confront yourself, to choose courage over comfort, to embrace vulnerability as strength, to dare to hope again despite the risks. So how do you navigate this landscape of dating after 60, a terrain that can feel both thrilling and terrifying at the same time? Let me share some insights I've observed from countless people thriving in love at this stage of life. These aren't rules. They're guideposts, reflections from those who dared to open their hearts again. Self-compassion is non-negotiable. This is your foundation. Your worthiness is not up for debate. For decades, life may have taught you to put others first. Children, partners, careers, friends. And now it's time to turn inward without guilt. Allow yourself the same care you've given to others. Speak gently to yourself in moments of doubt. Write it down if you must. I am deserving of connection and joy. I am worthy of laughter, touch, and the quiet magic of intimacy. Think of self-compassion as the soil in a garden. If the soil is rich, everything you plant, every conversation, every date, every spark of connection has the chance to grow. Neglected, and even the most promising relationship can wither. You cannot fully open to love without first nurturing yourself. Release comparison. It's natural to glance at younger couples, to remember what your youth felt like, to feel the pull of societal myths that suggest romance is a young person's game. But comparison is a thief of joy. Every life is a mosaic of triumphs, heartbreaks, lessons, and scars. Your story is unique, more textured, more nuanced, and infinitely richer than the highlight reel of someone else's life. Instead of measuring yourself against others, measure yourself against your own growth. Ask, am I moving toward authenticity? Am I embracing curiosity and joy? That's the compass that truly matters. Embrace curiosity over certainty. When you were younger, perhaps dating was about outcomes. Will this lead to love, commitment, or approval? Now, you have the freedom to approach connection differently. Let curiosity guide you. Ask questions not to control the narrative, but to understand. Listen deeply, not to respond, but to truly hear. Explore with openness rather than expectation. Think of each encounter as a journey through an uncharted forest. You don't know what wonders you will discover. Perhaps laughter hidden among the trees. Perhaps quiet understanding by a stream. Approach it with wonder, not fear. Curiosity opens doors that certainty keeps firmly shut. Honor boundaries. At this stage, you know yourself in a way few ever do. You know what nourishes your spirit, what drains it, what ignites joy, and what triggers pain. Use that wisdom as your guide. Boundaries are not walls, they are gates that protect your energy and preserve your heart. Imagine them as the banks of a river, shaping the flow of your relationships. Without them, the current can sweep you away. With them, you move gracefully, guided by your own rhythm. Say yes to what aligns with your values, your joy, your curiosity. Say no without guilt when something doesn't. Each no is a declaration of self-respect. Each yes is an embrace of possibility. Celebrate the journey, not just the destination. So often, we focus on finding the one, on the promise of forever. on the moment we think will finally make everything complete. But love after 60 is richer than that. The joy is in the journey, the laughter that erupts unexpectedly, the spark in a stranger's eyes, the quiet comfort of companionship, the small, tender moments that linger long after a date ends. Relish these moments. They matter deeply. Each story you hear, each conversation you share, each smile you exchange is a jewel. They are proof that life, at any age, can surprise you with beauty, joy, and connection. Love doesn't demand perfection, grand declarations, or monumental gestures. It thrives in presence, patience, and the courage to show up again and again. And here's the secret. The more you honor yourself, release comparison, embrace curiosity, protect your boundaries, and savor the journey, the more fully love can enter your life. Not because it's guaranteed, but because you are fully ready. Ready to meet it with a heart wide open, with wisdom tempered by experience, and with the quiet, unshakable joy of someone who knows their worth. And perhaps most profoundly, dating after 60 is a celebration of life itself. Every smile, every touch, every shared story is infused with the richness of experience, resilience, and gratitude. You bring a depth to connection that only decades of living can provide. That's why it's not just different, it's better. So, if you've been hesitating, if you've been telling yourself, "I'm too old," or "it's too late," I want you to hear this with every fiber of your being. Your heart is still capable. Your soul still longs. Your capacity to love, laugh, and connect is alive, and the world is ready for the love only you can offer. So if you've been hesitating, if you've been telling yourself, "I'm too old," or "maybe love isn't for me anymore," I want you to pause and really hear this. Your heart is alive, your capacity to connect is vibrant, and your story is far from over. Love after 60 is not a consolation prize. It's a second act, a chance to embrace life, laughter, tenderness, and connection with the wisdom and courage you've earned over decades. Every conversation you have, every spark of curiosity, every moment of laughter is a gift. Every handshake, coffee date, shared memory, or quiet evening together is a thread in the rich tapestry of your life. These moments matter, not because they lead to forever, but because they awaken joy, presence, and the simple, profound delight of being seen and understood. And here's something truly beautiful. Love now isn't about pretending, it's about authenticity. You don't need to impress anyone. You don't need to fit into anyone's expectations. You only need to honor yourself, follow curiosity, and let your heart guide you. In doing so, you discover a love that's deeper, gentler, and more enduring. One built on honesty, respect, and shared life experience. So I invite you to take the first step. Smile at someone new. Say yes to a conversation. Join a class. Send a message. Allow yourself to explore the unexpected, to feel the butterflies, to savor the small joys that make life extraordinary. And as you continue on this journey, remember, you are not alone. There is a community of people who understand, who have walked this path, and who celebrate the power of love and connection at every stage of life. That's why I invite you to join our community here on Echoes of Elderly Wisdom. Subscribe, connect, and share in the stories, the laughter, and the insights that remind us all that it is never too late to love, to laugh, and to live fully. Your heart has decades of wisdom behind it. Let it guide you. Let it open to possibility. And let it remind you every day that life and love after 60 is not only possible, it's extraordinary.